latest update on Cyclone Gita, which continues as a strong Category 3 storm on the Saffir-Simpson scale, Category 5 on the Australian scale. At 6 AM Fiji time on February 14th, it had winds of 125 miles an hour and an estimated pressure of 940 millibars. It's at 21.0 degrees south, 178.6 degrees east, and is heading westward. It has passed the international dateline and is now in the eastern hemisphere. The storm's expected to track towards the west, giving Fiji its closest pass during today, where tropical storm force winds are possible or likely in the southern islands. Hurricane force winds are likely to stay offshore, but hurricane force gusts are certainly a possibility for some of those islands towards the south. And then the storm will move off towards the west, curve towards the south, and then towards New Zealand ultimately by the looks of things. Right now it's a stage 6 on the CDPS scale, which means that the storm could still prove to be devastating if the centre of it tracked over any land areas. The tropical storm force wind field is very close to some of those land areas, and a cyclone warning is in effect for Onoilau, Mataku and Kadavu, amongst other locations. Taking a look at the picture over the next few days, obviously the closest pass is coming up pretty soon, so here's a chance of storm conditions in the vicinity, looking at Wednesday there, and you can see the southern part of the islands. The main two islands, Viti Levu and Vanuatu, doesn't look like there's going to be too inclement conditions there in terms of wind speed, but obviously rainfall will be on the increase and could prove to cause some flooding. So that's what we'll be looking at over the next few days. Main concerns for the main islands: flooding. Further south it's going to be those strong winds. And there's the picture as we enter the end of the week. Rain persisting, but not to do with the storm. Sea surface temperatures a little bit lower on the eastern side there in the Gita's wake, but temperatures are still pretty high, 28 and 29 ahead of the storm right now. Certainly warm enough to sustain a storm of this caliber. For some reason Gita isn't marked on this wind shear map, but you can see the area there of a slight decrease in wind shear just south of Fiji. That's where the storm centre is, and wind shear to the south of it is looking very high. To the west it's looking moderate to high. And here's how it has been progressing. The eye has really come out in these last few frames, which makes the storm very intriguing to look at indeed. It's the first time we've seen the eye come out properly like this, really. And if there is any weakness in the eye wall, it's towards the northwest, and that's probably the only thing that's preventing it from becoming a Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. The eye temperature is 9 degrees above freezing, which is a warm temperature for an eye, would usually correlate to a Category 4, but the somewhat weak eye wall is holding it back a little bit in terms of that intensity. That's all on the Saffir-Simpson scale, of course. More updates to come throughout the day in Fiji. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com, which becomes operational February 15th. You can also find our YouTube page if you're not there already. Search Force 13, all in text. Subscribe if you haven't. You can also find us on Facebook, like our page on there, and you can follow us on Twitter. Search Force 13 on there too. You can also add our Skype account and follow my personal account on Discord, at it indeed, Fool13 at extension 9094 for tropical weather chat.